Hello. In this exercise, we will demonstrate how to use video as the HTML content background instead of using still images. So this means that you can have forms, menus, and buttons, and text, and all kind of stuff like that sitting right on top of video. The video is going to be the background to the web page. First, let's take a look at the finished effect. You can see that I have some web page content, and as the background I have a video, a big HD video playing. Now what I did was, this morning I went outside my house, pointed up at a tree, and just took some HD footage, and we set the video to loop. And I made sure that I removed my audio from the video after I recorded it. Okay, we're going to start with the bare bones of an HTML5 web document. And the first thing I'm going to do is add my video element with the attributes that I want. I'm going to give it an ID of BG. BG is short for background. The video source is going to be in a video folder that I have, a video named pagebg.mp4. Now you're going to have to use .ogg videos or another format because it seems that Firefox, Chrome, and Internet Explorer all support the MP4 format. You'll see that the video plays in all three of those browsers. But if you test this with Opera, for instance, it's not going to work because Opera doesn't support the MP4 video format. It supports OGG and some other formats. But I'll talk about that at the end, and I'll show you a code example to where you could put different source elements within your video tag to account for different type of environments. So just at first we're going to put .mp4 as the video source. Let me set autoplay to true because we want the video to just play automatically when the page loads. We set a loop attribute to true because we want the video to just keep looping on itself so it never ends. So that means you're going to want a video that loops well. And it's best to use a short video so that it loads fast initially. Then if your video happens to have audio, you can set muted to true, and that will silence the audio. Okay, now in the code, directly under the video element, I'm going to place a div with an ID of content. And inside of that div is where all the content that I want to rest on top of the video is going to live. Inside of this div called content. Now if I was to render this right now, I'll get results that I don't want. You can see I have a big video, but my content is underneath it. So I have to put my content, I have to carefully layer things so where my content is on top of the video. Now in the CSS, we're going to target the element with ID BG, which is our video element. We're going to give it a width of 100%. That way, no matter the screen size, the video is stretched or shrunken according to the user's screen size. Then we're going to give this div ID of content right here some CSS applied to it. And the properties are position absolute. That way it can rest up on top of the video. The top value we're going to give 0 pixels. That way it's at the top where it should be. And we're going to give it a padding of 30 pixels so that the text and the content inside of that div isn't all smashed onto the outside edge. And then the color of the text, I just made it white. You can also target specific elements like H1 and H2 that we have text within to give it shadow. But I'm just going to put a text shadow here of black on the white text, and I'll make it 2 pixels and 2 pixels. So it's a black shadow with 2 pixel offset. Now if we take a look at this, alright, now we have the result that we want. And you see how quick and easy that was to do. Now some of you may ask, how do you limit the height of this element that the video background is in? And you can position that video element a little more easily if you just wrap it in a div. So I'm going to wrap that video element inside of a div, and let's give this div an ID of vid container or BG container. Now you style BG container any way that you want. So you can go right above BG, just put in £, BG container, open and close curly braces, and start styling it. Let's limit the height. Say 300 pixels. You can make it whatever you want. And let's set the overflow to none. or hidden. That way the user won't see anything underneath your 300 pixels except more content that you want to put. So let's take a look at this. So you see? Here, let me make the page background black. So you can see that the content only goes to 300 pixels, and then I can have more content beginning down here. If I wanted to limit the height of where that video is rendering as a background, and then as I change the width of my screen, you can see that the video width changes accordingly. But it's limited to that height now. So you can really position this BG container and limit its height in any way that you want, and the video that's within it that's serving as a background can be more easily styled and placed where exactly you want it, and its height can be more easily limited and things like that. Okay, now what we'll do is show you how you can use YouTube videos as the page background video. Okay, what I've done here is I uploaded a video, but I made sure that I uploaded it as unlisted. So only people with the link to the video are going to be able to see it. It never got published to my subscribers or anything. So I just made it unlisted, and I'm going to use this video as the example for my web page background. In the example that we have here, we're using a video that's going to be on our own website server and using the video element. So what I'm going to do now is just remove this video element altogether. Now back here at YouTube, you can go down to the share code, the embed code here, and just grab that embed code. I'm going to put it right where the video tag was. So now I have the proper video embedded there from YouTube. Now allow full screen, you can remove that. We're going to keep frame border equals 0. Now right here on the end of the source URL, what we're going to do, or the source video, we're going to put a question mark and then set some parameters. And actually what we can do is remove this width and height, and let's just give this the ID equal to BG. Just like the video element had ID of BG, now the iframe has ID of BG. So these properties right here, the width 100% will be attached. And we might have to set the height also for YouTube videos. So let's see what we have, and then we'll add some more parameters to this URL. Okay, I FTP'd the test file onto my live website at adamcorey.com, and I'm going to navigate to that file name. There's video background, and you can see that it has the width that it needs, but the height is not there. And you can also see that we can see all the YouTube controls, and the user will be able to play and pause the video, which you don't want them to have any control over the video, so we'll have to take care of that. Alright, so back in the file, let's just set some height. Let's go height maybe 800 pixels. Actually, the height only needs to be, what, 500 pixels, because that's what we have BG container set as. So let's set the height for BG to 500 as well. Now re-FTP that and view it again. So I'm going to refresh. Now you can see that I have the height that I want. And here's my content sitting right on top of the video. Okay, so right after the video ID for the source attribute, you're going to put a question mark to append some parameters. And we're going to start with autoplay equals 1. That means autoplay true. So you want the video to autoplay. And you also want to knock out controls. So what we'll do is we'll add the ampersand code, the HTML code version of the ampersand. We'll type in controls equals 0. That means controls false. We don't want to show any controls, and we want the video to autoplay. So now let's re-FTP this up to our live server and test. Now let me refresh, and we should see that there's no more controls. So now the controls are gone. Let's change the height on this to maybe 1000. Then refresh. There we go. That's what I wanted. So you just set the height to where it fits inside of your area that you want it to be in. Now we're going to add some more parameters to this string here. We already have autoplay and we have controls knocked out. So now we want and loop equals 1. That means looping is set to true now. Let's put and show info equals 0 and modest branding equals 1 and disable KB equals 1 and enable JS API equals 1 for true. Okay, let's go to the little application and refresh. There we go. So now you can see there's no controls or anything, but the user can still interact by clicking on the video. They can pause it and restart it again, which you don't want. So there remains only one little thing you have to do to disable any interaction with that YouTube video. Now you can see that it doesn't loop, and that's because you're going to need playlist setting. So let's go ahead and put in a playlist, even though I don't have any playlist for that video. But what you'd want to do is set that video in its own playlist at YouTube. That way you can set a playlist. Okay, the last parameter that I added to that string is playlist equals, and you put your playlist ID here. So what I could do on YouTube is go and make a new playlist on my channel and put the video of the tree waving in the wind as the only video in that playlist. Then I put the playlist ID here, and then it will loop on itself correctly. Okay, so that's very important to remember. If you want correct looping, if you're using this YouTube iframe method or the iframe approach, and you want it to loop correctly, then you put the playlist ID right there, and you have to make a playlist and have just that one video in it, so that video will loop over and over again. If you have multiple videos in the playlist, you'll have multiple videos as the background of your web page. So that's how it works. Now for me personally, if I was doing this, I would use the video element and have the video on my own server as the background for my page, which gives you this effect. And it's very simple, and you'll have more control over things if you do it this way. Oh yeah, I told you that I was going to show you how to disable the people being able to pause and restart that YouTube video if you use the YouTube iframe approach. If you use the YouTube iframe approach, I'm not going to code it for you. It'll be very easy. All you have to do is put an image that fills up the whole area covering the video. So you put another layer into your page, just like you put your content as a layer on top of your video. You just put another layer that goes in between your content and your video, and that layer will disable any interaction. Just make an image tag with a clear PNG, or you can set the RGBA values or the opacity to 0 for that image or whatever, or you can just have a clear, totally clear PNG image that fills up the entire space, and that way it'll disable mouse interaction with the video. But with this video approach, once you make sure that you have no controls, if you're not giving the user controls, then they won't have any way to interact with it. See, if I click on it, nothing happens because I have more control over the way this video is rendering. We're not giving it any controls at all. So if you click on the video, it doesn't pause it or anything like that. Now let me quickly take you to Web Intersect, where this whole topic has arisen, and somebody asked for a video tutorial about it actually, right here. How to make video backgrounds. So I gave a quick code example of how I would do it, showing using the video element. Then I explained what the iframe was being used for in those examples. It's to bring the YouTube video embed. And then down here, for people who say you're testing in Opera, or maybe you're testing in Firefox and MP4s don't seem to work. But actually here, let's go right here. You see how I have MP4? Let's go to File, Preview in Browser, Firefox. You can see I have videos working fine, MP4 in Firefox. So let's go to File, Preview in Internet Explorer. You can see it works just fine in Internet Explorer as well. Now what you will have problems with is Opera. So that's why I was showing you this code right here, Web Intersect, because if you use OGG or WebM type files, if you use OGG or WebM video files, then Opera supports those. So you can put all three of the versions and make sure you have all three versions of these type of files for that movie that you want to show or the video that you want to show. So I just want to mention that in case you're testing in Opera and you don't see the video, it's because Opera doesn't support MP4. Alright, so now you have two examples of using the video element with videos that are directly on your web server, and we also have the YouTube iframe embed approach, and I'll have both of those separate code examples under the video where it plays at developphp.com. So you'll be able to get your hands on both code examples that we worked with in the exercise.
If you enjoyed the video you just watched, click on the subscribe button to tune into Adam's channel. He produces new videos on a regular basis. Below the subscribe button are a few more of his video tutorials that other viewers have found to be helpful or inspiring. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.